In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an elongated stitch that's used in Japanese patterns a lot. And I use this book, Clear and Simple Knitting Symbols, to figure out how to read the charts in Japanese patterns. So we're going to use these instructions to figure out how to make this stitch that I used in this hat that makes this big long stitch. You can see it's quite subtle on its own, but part of this motif, it adds dimension and texture to the pattern. So here we have the instructions in the Japanese book, and you can see the way it's highlighted even though you can't read Japanese. So what we're going to do is we're going to knit several rows below the next stitch, and then we're going to let that next stitch unravel, and we end up with just the strands of yarn going through it where unraveled. We have a symbol that looks like a hairpin, according to some students in the class I taught. So I've started calling this the hairpin stitch. And you can see from where this chart is, this dot shows you where we're going to do the special action to make the long stitch. And in the Japanese book, they put the dot on the picture as well to show you that. Now I made a different kind of chart for the hat pattern, and you can see here we've got these little triangles of pearls and triangles of knits, and I have the same thing here on the hat. And in the middle of these triangles of pearls, we make this long stitch. So I've put the hairpin there, just like in the Japanese, and I've highlighted the stitch where you're going to do the special thing, because otherwise it can be confusing to us in American and English speakers looking at our books, because we don't usually have something that happens after the symbol is gone. So this is really easy. So here we've got this pattern, and I just want you to look. There's a whole bunch of pearls here before the new motif starts, and so it comes down to a pearl. Do you see that? And then here in the actual hat, you can see that at the bottom of each of the long stitches is a pearl bump. So there's a long stitch and a pearl bump. So I've got a little swatch here where I just worked up to the row where we're going to make that long stitch, and I'll show you how to do it. So I've got a little garter stitch edging on my piece, and now we're up to this row where on the chart it shows all pearls, but there's a yellow stitch above this hairpin. And if you look in the key that I've got for it, it says these stitches in the hairpin, we're just going to knit them. They're going to be worked like in stockinette stitch to unravel later. So I have a column of knits, and you can see it really clearly on the swatch. So I'm on row 12 on my chart here. So I'm just going to purl across till I get to this column of knits that stands out really clearly against the pearls. Instead of making a plain stitch, I'm going to make that elongated stitch. So the pearl bump is the key. It shows you where to make that stitch. I'm going to go way down and take the tip of my right needle and just stick it through above the pearl bump all the way to the back. And then I'm going to wrap my yarn and pull it through like a regular knit, but pull up a really long loop. And it doesn't matter if you hold your yarn in your left hand like I do or your right hand. You just wrap it after you stick it through from front to back. You just wrap it like you normally do for a knit and pull it through to the front and pull it up really big. Then you let that stitch unravel, and then you finish the row. So that's all there is to making that elongated stitch. It's something that's used in a lot of Japanese patterns, and I think it's kind of pretty. As itself, it's not that big of a deal, but when you move it into a motif and combine it with other things, it can really affect the texture. So that's how you make that stitch.